Hey guys, it's Di here, and there's a lot of word going around with YouTube today, and I thought I'd chime in a bit. I've listened to a few people. I haven't listened to absolutely everything. I'm speaking mainly from my own personal experience, and Exhibit A, I will speak about the problem, and Exhibit 2, I will speak about a potential solution, if it's applicable, if it can be done. But I've been on YouTube probably 10 years or so. I've lost count, nearly 10 years or over. And basically, it's transformed a lot. It was very, very loose in terms of rules when I started. Then first came like the wave of like copyright stuff. And so you couldn't really use that much copyrighted stuff anymore. And then from there, Adpocalypse 1, Apocalypse 2, etc. came. So then there was a restriction in what type of content you can make, not only what you can use in the content. And now we're at a stage where I feel like there has been a good solution for the copyright stuff, and I'll speak about that later, but there hasn't really been a good solution about the ad stuff, the ad problems you walk into. Vanos did post like a few weeks ago on his community tab talking about his frustrations of age restriction and how it just demotivated him. You know, that's kind of what the sense I got from the message was, demotivating to have a lot of hope for a video, and then it doesn't do that well because once you get age restricted, it kills all the money. That's number one. The money is gone. So all the money that went to editors, thumbnail artists, people who employ, managers, all that gone. So you've just taken a hit on that video. And then secondly, it massively reduces how much you recommend it. Now, generally speaking, from what I know, about 60 to 70% of your views actually come from recommended if you have a healthy, good channel that's growing and stuff like that. And basically, from there, you can see how important it is to be recommended. And YouTube tends not to, or it definitely doesn't, recommend content that has age restrictions on it. Obviously, to people under the age of 18, you have to be signed in and say you're over 18 to watch it. So that's a lot of that's most people on YouTube, right? And then also it doesn't get recommended because it's not good for ads. Limited ads actually does get a few ads on it, but they're very, very little. They're pretty much, yeah, it's very minuscule compared to what you normally get. And YouTube also recommends that much less because the ads aren't as good and there's less ads and stuff like that. So YouTube's there to make money. It's a business. I've built my livelihood on here, and I'm very appreciative of YouTube and the platform. And I always want the best for YouTube. I think they've done a lot of good things. And I think as they're progressing, they kind of run into hiccups like this. And I think the main hiccup comes from the system, the algorithm, the AI. That's right. AI is taking over YouTube. And the AI obviously is directed with information from YouTube. So it was human before it was AI. So the behavior of the AI could be an extension of YouTube, or it could be the AI making mistakes, being overly strict, etc. And the main issue right now that I'm noticing and I'm hearing is that false flags. It's the inconsistency. So I would say two things that YouTube is struggling with in terms of ads and clarity with their creators is, one, reasons why something is limited ads or age restricted. A lot of YouTubers want to know, and many times they'll never find out. They just have to, take the L and move on. Bad day at the office. Okay, hopefully next video is fine. Now, for me, that's not a big problem if I upload, 4 or 5 times a week and one video gets limited ads. That sucks, but if the other videos do fine and do well, it's not the end of the world. However, if you put a lot of work into a video, you upload once a week or once a month, and that gets limited ads and age restriction, that can be really, really heart-wrenching stuff. Oh, you couldn't imagine it. So I think that's kind of why this does kind of need to be addressed, and I'm happy to see people talk about it. I'm rambling on a little bit, but that's fine. I hope I'm staying coherent within the parameters I've set myself. So let's continue about the problem. The clarity is not there. The why is not there. People need to know why. People need to know why so they can avoid that in the future. Not only that, but the second problem tied to the why is very inconsistent. The why is this. but then it doesn't apply in this instance, or it doesn't apply in that instance, or you get away with it here and you get away with it there. And YouTubers are happy to break rules and get away with it. I know that for a fact. YouTubers are happy to do that. But really, if you're going to start being strict with things and be consistent, the why has to be fairly similar most of the time. So that's the issue we're running into. But the solution, I think, is kind of already there. If you think about it, it's already there. It's there actually in the edit tool on YouTube. It's there in the edit tool. So YouTube has the infrastructure already there. They built up the technology. So this isn't an extravagant solution or unrealistic. Where it could come into loopholes or problems, I'll talk about in a minute. But essentially, when you get a copyright claim, you can choose to cut that out of your video, and then you stay earning all the monetization on your video. Because when a copyright claim comes in, to speak to people that don't understand this, it's very simple. It's just, I own a portion of your content, so I get all the money. That's kind of it. You've got a 12-minute video. I own 5 seconds of it. I get all the money. You still get recommended, which is okay. That's fine. But you don't get the money from it. So it's like a limit. It's like it goes age restrictions worst, limited ads pretty bad. Copyright is like, okay, it's not the end of the world. It happens, whatever. But what you can do with copyright is you can cut it out of the video, cut out that segment, or mute the music, or do whatever you need to do. Or you can just take down the video, re-upload it without the copyrighted stuff, and then you're fine. I've ran into this problem before. I've worked around it. It was fine. I wasn't like too bothered. And so I think that kind of, and I can't take the credit here. I will say I can't take the credit here. I was in a call with Terrorizer and a few other the boys yesterday, and that was one of the ideas they came up with, was, hey, why can't you apply a cut tool where you take out what is claimed to the ad-limited, ad-age-restricted content? And that's it. That's the solution. It's really simple as that. But YouTube has to be clear and transparent with people for that to be achieved. Copyright claim, it's someone comes in, claims, that's it, bada bing, bada boom. Age restriction, all that stuff, it's YouTube's end. And I think the lack of transparency with YouTube is what's causing a lot of the problem here, and would be the main stumbling block in terms of applying this solution. So let's say, okay, a limited ad comes in. YouTube says, okay, it's from this minute to this minute. It is heavy swearing. Let's say a lot of swear words. It's a bucket of them, all right? And that is the thing that gets limited ads or age restricted these days, is a lot of swearing in a very condensed area. And so if YouTube came to me and said, hey, cut this out of the video and we'll leave the ads up. We'll give you the option. We won't limit it yet. We won't age restrict it yet, but you have an hour to respond. This is what we found is wrong. You have an hour to respond, to cut out of your video, and bada bing, bada boom. They give you a little bit of grace period, which is important for creators to have. You know, they might be asleep when it comes in. I've woken up and to a video that was age restricted and limited ads, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So a little bit of grace period might go a long way for some people. Now, if it does get limited or age restricted, you still have time to cut it out. But that little grace period of an hour is actually quite nice, because once it becomes limited or age restricted, boom, down just like that. I had a video, I'll speak from experience. I had a video recently that was age restricted, sponsored video. Now, if a video got age restricted and it wasn't sponsored, I would take down the video and I would re-upload it. I'd probably lose a little bit of views, but it wouldn't be the end of the world, because age restrictions usually come within the first few hours. But this is a sponsored video. I can't take it down and re-upload it. It's not, I can't really do that. So then, okay, wow, that kind of sucks. And it got overturned. It got overturned after like a day or two. And then the views are starting to go up again. So boom, boom, and then you can see the exact moment it's limited ads, age restricted, and the exact moment it's overturned simply by the views. So like, it's kind of crazy. And that's the main solution I think is on there, is YouTube being more and more clear about why they're doing what they're doing, and then giving people the same ability they have with copyright claims, but apply it to ads, things that aren't You know, advertisers pay a lot of money. They want their ads on videos that reflect well for their brand. That's essentially what's happening. And you know, if they're paying a lot of money and YouTube's run by all the ads, like YouTube wouldn't be free with all of these ads. So there's a give and take to everything. And that's pretty much it. That's all I've got to say. I've had a good experience with YouTube myself. I have a YouTube rep myself as well that I go to if I have problems. He's always been really, really helpful. I love the guy. How you doing? And yeah, that's really the bones of things. That's the bones of things. Yeah, without further ado, I hope you listen, YouTube. Apply this. I know it'll be difficult and it'll take time. But yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed. Stop recording.